Now that we're back, can we have like 3 people share either what brought them here today or what you noticed about housing where you live? You can just come off mute and share.
Get automatically cut off.
Yeah, you can crank it.
For those of you just coming back, Callie was saying that if anyone wants to share out from your breakout room what you've talked about, feel free to just come off mute and share about what you said.
I could share.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. So I met Donald. We live not in Massachusetts, but New York City and Washington, D.C. And we noticed with housing is, for me, it's part of a tenant association. But there's a lot of like tenant turnover, and like the history of that kind of work might get lost somewhere. And Donald talked about the difficulty in finding like more than one family, multifamily housing, especially in a place like DC.
Totally. Yeah. Great. Thanks for sharing, Mars.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Are we going to talk about how we save the whole world in this Zoom, or are we just going to talk about the Greenfield project?
Yeah, definitely in our 30 minutes together. I don't think we're covering all of that, but we will cover what we're trying to do here locally in Greenfield to make a difference. And also it does impact the broader community because what we're doing hopefully can serve as a model for other people and organizers who want to be doing the same work in their own communities.
Okay.
Anyone else want to share?
This is Ari in East Hampton. I was in a Zoom room with somebody who lives in Springfield, and both of us said that the rent is too damn high, and it's really hard to find places that are affordable.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed. I think here in Western Mass, we know the market, and as renters, and even as homeowners, yeah, it's just kind of very easy to get priced out. Cool. We can move on to the next piece. So essentially, we're here today because we want to take back community control of some land and housing here in Greenfield. I am inspired to do this work because I feel like everyone deserves the right to safe, stable housing. I shared last week that I think I moved 11 times growing up before I was 18 and went to 7 different schools. And I know that's not the choice my mother would have made if she had another option. And I think many people, whether they're parents or singles or not, whatever their structure is looking like, want to have security in their housing. And it really is just a basic need to build more stability in life. So that is what's bringing me here today. And I'll let Saul share why he's here today.
Thanks. Yeah, so similar to Callie, I grew up in this area. I grew up in Amherst, and I came back to the area during COVID, probably like a lot of folks. And even from someone coming with relative resources and a job, found it really hard to find stable housing, having to move many times, not of my own volition in the past couple of years, and just personally experiencing how disruptive that can be. On the other side of things, I moved back to this area because of my community here, my family, friends, etc., and just feeling how we can keep each other safe through our housing choices, and that this is something that we can bring together our different resources and different strengths and tackle this issue together. So we're not doing this project alone. Both nationally and locally, there's a really rich history of alternative ways of looking at land and housing stewardship, from community land trusts to housing co-ops to co-housing to alternative financing. So when we're thinking about this project, we're thinking not only about how do we meet our immediate needs, but how do those needs point to broader societal issues, and how do we collectively resolve those issues in our small community, not obviously saving the world for everyone, but just doing our piece locally to build something that is just practical, works for us and makes sense. And yeah, and providing a new model for, building on all the existing work, kind of pulling together pieces and seeing what we can do here to make something that works for us.
Cool. I forgot to mention that I am local. I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts. For those of you who don't live in the area, that is about 40 minutes away from Greenfield. And I would also like to take a moment just to have the Valley Housing Co-op and Valley Community Land Trust and Noble Home affiliates just use the reaction emoji to wave, and then also just like give a wave so people can see you and know you. We have a lot of people here that have been supporting this project, and yeah, many people on this call who have been supporting us over the years in many ways. I'm so grateful for all of your support. So as I mentioned in the beginning, there are 3 main partnerships involved with this project. Up next, we're going to have representatives from each partnership share more about their organization and their role in the partnership. This image that you see here is the property that we're under contract to take off of the private market. So we are under contract to buy 106 Stone Farm Lane in Greenfield. And yeah, I'll just get right into it and let each of the partners share more about their work.
Yeah, so I'll introduce Sarah, who is going to talk a bit about Valley Community Land Trust. Sarah is a member of the community relations, community involvement board of Valley Community Land Trust, and this relationship we've had with Valley Community Land Trust is one of the most meaningful parts of being a part of this project for me. So she'll talk a little bit about them.
Hi. So yes, I'm part of the Valley Community Land Trust Community Engagement Committee. And I'm also a member of Valley Housing Co-op since the beginning in 2020 when we were meeting outside during the beginning of the pandemic, and on Zoom. And yeah, I'm excited to have developed this relationship with Valley Community Land Trust over the last few years and have been looking at different properties together. And now this is one that we've both been really excited about moving forward with. So just a little bit of background on VCLT is that it was created in 1977 by war tax resistors. It currently holds 200 acres plus in trust, and they have 13 leaseholds in Franklin County, in Coleraine, Wendell, Ashfield, and Greenfield. And how it functions is it takes land off the speculative market for permanent affordability and community control. And I'm interested in a community land trust model because it's a legal tool to create financial accessibility and democratic governance. And even though this model was first created in 1969, it's more like 50 years old or so. It's not a new idea of like land being a community good and the shared common space, and private property is building on injustices of colonization and genocide and slavery, and is a tool for wealth hoarding and oppression. So it's nice that a community land trust model can be part of a return of land to the commons and helping create that stability and community and being able to invest in your family and your job and have roots. So I'm interested. That's why the community land trust model resonates with me. Go on to the next slide. So just a little background on community land trust movement. The first one was created in 1969 by civil rights movement activists in rural Georgia. And then this model was popularized by the Institute for Community Economics, which was based in Greenfield, which I love. And also this Institute for Community Economics inspired many other CLTs developing, including one in Burlington. They pitched to Bernie Sanders, who was mayor at the time, and Bernie created the first municipal CLT partnership with funding and administration support, and that has grown into the largest community land trust in the country, and it owns 8% of housing stock in Burlington and is helping with housing resiliency and affordability there. So now there's 312 community land trusts in the country, and it's growing internationally as well, with other countries creating a similar legal model. And locally, we have an emerging housing and land justice collaborative, which is very exciting, and bringing together these different threads, including an organization, Equity Trust, which grew out of Institute for Community Economics, and also gave us a loan for this project. Yeah, we can go on to the next slide. So just what it means when we're saying community control, it just is saying that the residents are owning the building and they're leasing the land from the community land trust. And then the community land trust is a member-run nonprofit that has oversight over the land. Yeah. So the leaseholder can be a co-op, it can be a single family home, or it can be a condominium. We can go on to the next slide. And about the permanent affordability for housing being a right rather than for profit. The community land trust model prevents speculation because the community land trust holds the land in perpetuity forever, hopefully. And the land value is not part of the purchase price for the people buying the home, which makes it more affordable. And instead of being as much as the market can bear, which we saw during the pandemic was a lot, it's capped at a fair value. So next slide. This particular property is very exciting for both Valley Community Land Trust and Valley Housing Co-op because it's a combination of rural and urban and the best of both worlds. It's like a mile from downtown Turner's, a mile from downtown Greenfield. It's on the river. There's woods, there's public trails. It's nice to be urban, of course, for public transportation, jobs, amenities. It's nice to be rural for beauty and creative projects and space. And Greenfield is the seat of Franklin County and has a rich history of local activism. Also, this property has 2 existing duplexes and room for growth. So it's nice to have that combination of immediate inhabitability, but then potential for expansion. And Valley Community Land Trust was in particular excited about this project because it can leverage their impact so much more because they're leasing to an organization, Valley Housing Co-op and Noble Home Design Build. And these organizations would be managing the process of resident turnover. So they're able to use their legal entity nonprofit status to help partner with these other organizations and provide that organizational stability since they've been around for 50 years to help this project make an impact.
All right, thanks, Sarah, for sharing. I hope everyone's still with us. We have a lot of information we're sharing. We're gonna have Nevin share on behalf of Noble Home Design Builds. We have a really cool partnership going on with them that we're grateful for. Noble Home Design Build was created by Noah Grunberg, and he is a developer. He's done some really cool work. He was looking for a group to partner with to do small, affordable community homes, community-based tiny homes. So I'll let Nevin share a little bit more about this aspect of the project and partnership.
Thanks, Callie. Yeah, my name is Nevin. I live in Franklin County. I grew up here. And I'm also, of course, a member of Valley Housing Co-op. I'm a builder interested in sustainable and accessible housing, which is one of the reasons why I'm interested in Valley Housing Co-op. And like Callie said, I'm going to be representing Noah Grunberg of Noble Home Design Build. So when Valley Housing Co-op began our sort of journey for looking at housing in 2020, we were looking for land or a project that sort of could accommodate a variety of housing needs and also of our own housing abilities, affordability, different living styles, different development styles, experimenting with different types of construction. As we began to look, we came across a blog post that Noah had put up on his website for a small home development. And he was saying very much similar things to us. And so we thought that it made sense to sort of join forces and look for land together. We weren't necessarily looking to partner and sort of do one project together, but maybe looking to partner on land to sort of do both of our projects, and each project sort of help each other alongside at the same time. And so that's what we're going to be sharing with today, because we finally found a piece of land that we think is great. Next slide. So Noah founded Noble Home in 2007. He originally started as a kit home developer. He's based in Shelburne Falls, and he's interested in simple, ecologically designed homes. He was trained at Taliesin, which is like Frank Lloyd Wright's sort of like desert laboratory. I think that he founded sometime in the 30s. So Noah's been a practicing designer for many years. And like I mentioned, he initially started thinking about housing affordability through the manufacturing of kit homes, and he's now wanting to branch out into more accessible models for building affordable and ecological housing in the Connecticut River Valley. Next slide. So Noah's development has a tentative name of just simply stone farmland housing. What he's envisioning is a sort of like a small home, multifamily condo, where units are between 250 and 500 square feet, and it's all sort of terraced. So there will be a condo association, and units will be bought by individuals. So this will be separate from Valley Housing Co-op's sort of own housing project, but will also be in the same property and have potential for the units to be, for some of the units to be bought by Valley Housing Co-op in the future. Although the whole development isn't going to be owned by Valley Housing Co-op. So what Noah's imagining, like I said, are units between 250 and 500 square feet, trying to keep them affordable between $150,000 and $250,000 per unit. Each unit is going to have its own entrance to the outside. The ground level units, which you can see here in the picture, they're hoping to be ADA accessible. Each unit is going to have its own secluded outdoor space, like a terrace or a deck. They'll all be incorporating passive solar design, sort of through Noah's training at Taliesin, the Frank Lloyd Wright Laboratory. There will also be a common greenhouse, which will hopefully include a shared laundry space, and then also incorporate a gray water treatment system to treat all of the water. And finally, it's going to all have centralized parking. There is, so resident application is still in progress for this development. So if you're interested in living here, you can get in touch. We'll be providing contact information later on. You can get in touch with Noah at Noble Home to, talk about living at Stone Farm Lane. Next slide. So this property had been previously approved for a development, and that gave us sort of the confidence to start creating a conceptual development plan for the property and to bring it to the town. So about a month or so ago, Noble Home and Valley Housing Co-op got together to create this, and then we brought it to the town for initial talks. They're very excited about the possibility of the project, especially all the public access that we're hoping to provide. And like I said, this is very much in the conceptual phase. So we're looking to hear feedback from the community, and we'll, as this project moves forward, we'll be creating more opportunity for that in a more structured way as well. So I think Saul's going to do a little bit of pointing here, annotating to sort of point out some highlights of the plan as it stands. On the left-hand side, you can see the entrance to the property, the driveway. So there's currently trails that the neighborhood uses there that I use actually all the time. I walk my dog there. And there's no public access to them right now. So we're hoping to work with the town to create a public trailhead that you'll be able to access all the trails on the property from, as well as potentially expand that trail system a little bit more. And then you can see right down from there, there's a sort of forest garden, which we're hoping to be, maybe a forest garden or a community garden or some other third spaces, as we mentioned before, possibly workshops, maybe like a chicken co-op, things like that. And then you can see there's Noble Homes development, and then also there are some Valley Housing Co-op units as well. So not only will Noah and Noble Home be developing some units on this property, but Valley Housing Co-op is hoping to do some development in the future as well. We are, and this is still sort of in a very conceptual phase. So we're looking for interested people who are, interested in sort of doing sort of a community building project. We're not there isn't one particular plan yet, so we're very much open to what others think. Let's see. And then I guess, I guess that's about it. If you have any more questions about development, like I said, we'll be sort of like hosting more feedback and brainstorming sessions about this in the future.
Great. Well, thanks, Nevin, for sharing about all that stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about the co-op itself and the role it's playing in the project. So as Nevin said, the co-op will be owning the 2 existing duplexes there, and with the plan to build additional units as well. And so part of our values are that we want this to, obviously for residents there to have a stake in their housing and the governance there, and also for community members to have a stake. So we're using sociocracy, a governance model, to help spread power and share responsibility. We have open membership and to anyone in the community like yourselves. And we have a financial structure that supports folks to be residents without having to afford a large down payment. So I'll go into these in a little bit more detail with Callie. The first one being sociocracy. So this is a way for us to be able to make decisions effectively and efficiently while still allowing input and having everyone's voices heard. So these are some of the circles that we have that we are in: finance, membership, and property, and they're connected to one another through the general circle with linking. And so anyone who's a member owner can be attend meetings and asked to become a member of the circle with the consent of that circle. So if you're really excited about this property and want to have more say in how it's developed, you can become a member and start coming to the property circle meetings. One of the nice things about this structure is it allows for folks who maybe are not really, what if you're really excited about this structure but don't really care about this property? Well, if you have, like, say, another property in the area that you think would be a good fit for a housing co-op, you could join. And if there's enough energy and momentum, you could, say, form a subcircle for that property. So that way, that property could be managed by the folks who care most about it and who live there, but also share in the resources and the overall administration of the co-op with others. Also, if you're like a community member and you want to be a part of the community garden, once those things come out, then we can have circles for those, and you can be a part of that circle and have actual ownership and decision making over those things, even if you're not a resident member. So overall, these are like some of the ways we're learning from a lot of the great history in the area, from co-housing communities, and how to do governance in a way that's effective and also egalitarian.
All right, so you've seen the circles and you're excited to get involved, or there's a circle you're not seeing and you're like, I want to make it happen. Well, to do that, you can become a member owner of Valley Housing Co-op and join any circle. So there are 3 ways to be a member owner of Valley Housing Co-op. One is to donate $5 monthly, and that gains you access to being a community member. You'll be able to attend meetings just like the other member owners from the different categories, as well as gain access to the meeting notes and our forum. We've collected a lot of rich information over the years. I mean, we have a lawyer, we've talked to many lawyers, we've talked to other co-ops, we're incorporated. We have articles of incorporation. So we've been through this project and we want to share that information with people. You don't need to become a community member to gain access to that information. We want to share it with people, whoever wants to do this work. But by donating, you support this project and making it happen. Another way to be a member is to become a lender member. You can do that by loaning to the co-op, and then you are also able to attend the meetings, gain access to the meeting notes in the forum. And this is a great option if you have more access to capital. It's a great way to support the project if you're open to it. And the final way to become a member owner of VHC is to become a resident member. This option isn't available at this time, but do stay in touch with us to learn more about housing opportunities. We want people to live here, obviously. So yeah, keep that in mind. And in case it's not clear, the circle membership is open to any member owner, no matter what category you're in. So this project has been quite the feat. It takes a lot of capital to buy 32 acres of land and 2 duplexes. And we're so grateful that we've received a lot of support thus far through both loans and donations. These have provided the upfront capital for this project, and we're still looking for more. Currently, we've been supported by loans through the Equity Trust, as well as the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast, as well as through personal loans and also donations. This upfront capital allows us, 1, to buy the land and purchase the duplexes. And 2, it allows Valley Housing Co-op to hold the mortgage. So we put up the upfront capital to buy the land, and Valley Housing Co-op is able to hold the mortgage so that people who otherwise couldn't access a mortgage or might be excluded due to barriers in our social or economic system are able to have the stability of housing without that access barrier. Yeah.
So just to recap, there's a few different parties here, and they're all playing a really important part. So Valley Community Land Trust is holding the land in perpetuity, and they're providing long-term community stability and oversight over the development of the land and controlling the resale formula so that it's affordable into the future. Valley Housing Co-op and Noble Home are both leasing portions of the land. Valley Housing Co-op is leasing the land with the 2 duplexes, and they're both building additional units. Valley Housing Co-op governance structure is also a way for folks in the community to get involved with the project and what happens on the land itself. So yeah, we have all these pieces together, but we're having this to reach out to you today to basically ask for your support in getting us over the last mile here.
Yeah, so we need support to make this happen. Like I said, we've done a really amazing job at collaborating with folks in the community and beyond to support this project. There are many people that want to see it come true, to take this land off of the private market and make it accessible to more people. But yeah, to do that, we are needing support.
So just to be clear about what that means, like I said, this is showing the fundraising for the total property, including land and housing, and it's coming from a number of sources, including Noble Home, Valley Community Land Trust, Equity Trust loans, Cooperative Fund of the Northeast loans, and additional community donations. So we've received, since last week, our first form, we've received $20,000 of community donations for VCLT. We also have some additional amount that's been pledged but not yet donated. And so we're still looking for some additional donations to Valley Community Land Trust. And if we're able to raise over this amount of donations, then that will go towards making the housing more affordable today and into the future. So that subsidy will be preserved by the land trust. Also, we are starting to put together all of our community loans. We have some existing loans that we've received and more that's pledged, but we're also looking for more in community loans or donations to Valley Housing Co-op for the purchase of the duplexes and for starting all of our funds. So if you do have more capital and you're more comfortable with a lending agreement, that's something that we're kind of soliciting the community for now, and you can talk to us about it. So in total, we've secured over 800,000 out of the total. The purchase price is roughly $1 million with an additional couple $100,000 for closing costs and additional funds. So we secured a good majority of it, but we're now reaching out to get that last piece so that we're able to close by the end of the month on this property and place it under community control.
Great. So just one final wrap up of what your contributions will support. We are trying to secure this land to make it permanently affordable, not just for current residents, but for future generations. As anyone living in the valley knows, our housing costs have, in Franklin County alone, housing is almost 50% more than it was before the pandemic. And so you have the ability to keep housing affordable for people in our area. And to do so in a way that is sustainable. We are building our systems, our buildings, and our community with sustainability in mind, both in terms of the human landscape and the natural world and habitat. And we are hoping to expand community third spaces. So we heard about community gardens. There was mention of a workshop, a wood shop, and just expanding existing trails and access to those trails. And that's all here, but the idea is that what happens here can, like how we are modeling off of existing structures that have been shifting the real estate, like property or land from being considered property on the real estate market, we too can be a model to continue to decommodify housing and have democratic ownership over how we live and where we live.
Cool. Yeah, and for context, that was Nina Levison, who's a fellow member of Valley Housing Co-op.
Thanks. So there's a lot of different parties here. Please feel free to reach out, and we'll put this information in the chat and also follow up with folks after with this in written form if you put your email in when you joined. But you can reach out to Noble Home about the development there, Valley Community Land Trust, more broadly about the land trust and the housing co-op. You can become a member or reach out to us with any questions or feedback.
Great. So thank you. Please donate. We are trying to close this property on June 27th. So it's a big time for us. We're trying to get these donations in before June 20th. We have 3 very generous, supportive donors who are open or who have committed to matching funds 3 times between now and the 20th. So please donate. The link to the Zephy is on the screen. That's a 0-fee funding platform. And you can also donate via check to Valley Community Land Trust at the address on the screen.
Yeah, and I'll just plug in to say that like June 27th is our closing date. So the earlier that donations are received, the better. It helps us know what we're working with and what else we need to do to make sure this project can really happen. We are relying on donations and loans to make it happen. So grateful for everyone being here, and as much as you can, spreading the word and maybe joining the group to support this project and happening.
All right, well, thank you all so much for taking your Sunday and coming on Zoom with us to hear all this dense material and hear about our project. And yeah, we're happy for any questions now. We have a little bit of time, and also we're happy to follow up later. Feel free to reach out to us via email. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and in case you didn't see it and you're planning on hopping off immediately, the link to donate is in the chat box. And also, if you want to just learn more about the project, we have more information in the links there. Questions? Yeah, Nancy, I see your hand.
Hi, I just want to say thank you so much for a great presentation. And there's are so many players. It is a little confusing, and I'm really excited about the piece of property that you folks are looking at, and what you've put together as a plan for the whole property. So I'm supporting you all the way. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, we'll be recording. We've recorded this, so we can send out the email recording of this to everyone who, I believe you put your email in when you joined, so we'll be sending that out to everyone.
I'm seeing a comment in the chat about talking further about disability justice issues around housing and built environments.
You can take that. Yeah, so with the current, so that there's 2 duplexes on the property currently, and they were built, I think, around 1900 or so, and so, you know, they're not, of course, set up with yeah, disability access in mind, and we're hoping that yeah, with these future developments, to be taking that into consideration. So yeah, both with Noah's development, I can't speak too much to that for Noah specifically, but I know for us, with our developments in the future, we're sort of hoping to have a more community-led approach. And so I think if there's anybody in the community, you know, who's experiencing what it's like to live with disabilities in terms of housing in the built environment, we would be happy to hear from you. And to, I don't think we have too much experience with this personally, you know, in our own daily lives, and so that would be very helpful. And yeah, we're just very open, and so we're hoping to be able to incorporate that.
Totally. I'll just put our email address in the comments for you, so that way you can message us, or you can share yours with us and we can be in touch. Either way is good.
I'll also add that right now we're in our final push to acquire this property, but like you saw earlier in the slides with our circle structure, that is how we govern the co-op. Like there was a property circle and how there can be sub-circles off of that. Like this is a great opportunity for like people who are interested in seeing that. There's the opportunity for sub-circles off that property circle that are dealing with specific issues around housing and how it will affect certain populations. So right now we're in the push to ensure that this happens, and then we would love, like, we are very open to input and support in the governance of how we can make this project as accessible as possible. Nancy?
Yeah, I just have a PS on the issue of people accessibility with people with disabilities. I would encourage you to from the beginning to think of everything that you build as being using universal design so that it's accessible, physically accessible. I'm not talking about money, but to everybody. It's an opportunity to build that way, and it's if you can afford to, which I hope you can figure out to afford to do that, please do that.
Well, thank you.
There was a question about how this ties into town land and trails for community access. Does anyone want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk about that too. So there, yeah, this is sort of at the north end of the Poet Seat Ridge and trail system, which, yeah, is like, I think it's probably the biggest park in Greenfield, or park system in Greenfield. Um, Much of the town, uses it every day, recreation, walking dogs, running, that sort of thing. And also connects, it goes all the way down to the Connecticut River. So if you live in the center of Greenfield, you can walk up, you can go into Highland Park, or you can access the trails that way, or you can access them hopefully from, I mean, you can currently access them now, sort of from the north side where this property is as well. But we're hoping to make that official soon. And then it doesn't connect to any other sort of towns trails, like right from this property, although there is a trail that sort of goes, I believe, from the Sugarloaf, from all the way from like the tip of Mount Sugarloaf range all the way up, because I believe it's the same mountain range all the way up, possibly into Vermont, although I think I see Nancy shaking her, or saying maybe yes. So
At least in
there is a
Greenfield.
trail.
I don't know about Vermont, but yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good trail.
Mhm.
And the AMC has been maintaining certainly this certain sections of it.
Yeah.
And we are in conversation with the town about making accessible parking to those trails, which doesn't currently exist.
Cool. I just saw your comment in the messages. Joanna, I think is your name. We'll definitely be in touch and yeah, just talk about your thoughts on this and how it can help influence us to make a project and property that we feel good about offering to the community. Do we have any other questions? Cool. I'm into the like 10-second. Oh, is
Did you
someone
have
here?
one?
Oh, I was just gonna, thank you so much. This was really, this was a great presentation and was helpful to see everything. I love all the visuals, but I was just gonna encourage anyone who's on and wants to know more, that I feel like the co-op website has a lot of good information about your values and vision that is probably too much to go into here, but if people are interested, I think that's a really nice place to get a sense of yeah, just the values behind this project, which to me is one of the most important things watching this develop over the past 4 years, is seeing this through line of real commitment to shared values and yeah, just make, in terms of having this be an open forum, the way that you guys are handling moving forward is just such an important part beyond all the importance of affordable housing and housing justice and equity and all these things, which are part of that, but also seeing the way you're moving together as a group has been really inspiring. And I think some of that comes through your website. So I just want to encourage people to check that out if they haven't already.
Thank you.
Cool. I'm into the 10 seconds of space to give people a chance to, come to their thoughts and come to their words. So I think we'll give like a few more seconds, just see if there's anything arising for people. And then if not, we'll move on to the next thing, which is closing.
Yeah, and we're happy to hang out in this Zoom room as well. We can let people go, but can stick around too.
Yeah. All right. I think we've reached our 10 seconds. I appreciate everyone who came.